So football season's over. The evil's been defeated. But there's so much good remaining in the world of sports. The NHL and NBA are full of drama and tension. Pitchers and catchers have reported for spring training. There are plenty of chances to get to games. And the way to do that is with SeatGeek, the sponsor of this video. I want to watch Paul Skeens pitch before he's traded to a real team. And I know for certain tickets will be sold out fast. So SeatGeek's the only chance I have to watch the magic. Their app will guide me through the resale market to help find the best value. Sorting all tickets from red to green on a 1 to 10 scale. Giving me a sneak peek from where I'll be sitting. Plus tickets are verified for authenticity. Like Skeens on the mound. Dominant. Don't forget to use the code TREE to save $20 off your first purchase. Being a Pirates fan is bleak. But SeatGeek helps ease the pain a little bit. I think. Now on to the video. Hockey's break with a twist this time around. More than halfway through the season leads us to a bounty we didn't know we needed. The Four Nations Tournament. The NHL has gotten in its own way a lot as of late, but they absolutely nailed this. International hockey has sorely been missing due to a lack of Olympic representation. That'll end next year. Even better, the World Cup of Hockey will be returning 2 years after and vice versa. Now Canada and the US were beating the shit out of each other. It's the closest thing to playoff hockey we have right now. National pride's a hell of a drug. The same goes for contending in the East. A lot of intriguing candidates out there. I love seeing boys clubs having to eat shit. It fuels my unwarranted superiority complex. Marchand and Pasta can't carry this sickly patient to the promised land forever. And this season proves it. The Bees struggling out the gate because they split up the two-headed monster that made them relevant? Hire Monty into the sun. That's totally gonna jolt the team. Joe Sacco's only jolt is the shock of reality. They're squarely in the mid-tier. And that might be generous. The less said about their January, the better. Goaltending's been an issue for them, but the real concern? They have next to no depth. It's Pasta, Marchand, McAvoy, and the three-ring circus. The power play's pretty much punchless, and the farm system has next to nothing on the way. Even if they do make the playoffs, do you see this team making it past the quarterfinal? Unless Swayman finds his old magic and Elias Lindholm somehow isn't a completely terrible fit on the roster, I don't know how they do it. Unless they face Toronto. Think of the NHL taking a field trip. Everyone was on their best behavior in the East, so you're all going to playoff contention land. Except for you, Buffalo. Your parents never signed the permission slip. No matter what this organization does or tries in half-hearted attempts at nostalgia, they will fail at everything. Team goaltending will still fail to develop into anything consistent. The team's young talent will still fail to mesh into anything resembling a cohesive unit. There's no vision here, it's just management throwing shit at a wall hoping things stick. Bowen Byram's fucking good, but he's excess goods on a team with Deline in power. And considering their long notorious defensive issues and massive December skid, it only leads to yet another season of despair. Just watch Dylan Cousins become great in a real team like Sam Reinhart before him. I'd be surprised if he doesn't, to be honest. Hunger for a cup is insatiable for the Hurricanes. Yet they're afraid of another Jake Gensel situation. Carolina's a team worthy of competing for the ultimate prize. Well-rounded offense, elite penalty kills, solid goaltending when Freddie isn't out long-term with injury. But they lack true power. The Canes need a superstar. Look to Colorado and see the eternally underrated Mikko Rantanen. A blockbuster of blockbusters. The price was steep, but if you're getting Taylor Hall's middle six form for the trouble, you take it and enjoy the scoring boom. Hey Mikko, you gonna start scoring soon? Those haters who said you were a product of McKinnon are getting quite bold with their takes. I know, short sample size, but he's getting outscored by Jack Drury. Brother, you want $14 million a season, you better perform like it. Or are the Canes just gonna flip him at the deadline? They traded away Natchez for this? I'm honestly proud of them. Dealing with horrible tragedy can either cause a team to crater or galvanize into something greater. Columbus has had the latter happen. Johnny Hockey blessed them from the afterlife. Kirill Marchenko breakout hour. He and Dmitry Voronkov becoming the high-end scorers they were hoping Line would become. The struggles of December giving way to a January surge. Thank the gods for the Jackets needed it in the worst possible way. Sean Monahan's wonder was not for 1 year. Zach Werenski's finally healthy for a full campaign. You can't ask for much more in Columbus. Well, their goaltending's the standard chaotic mess it's been for the last few years, but with a high-powered offensive machine, that's easier to bury. Same with David Jiricek not panning out here. It's not like Monahan and Marchenko got injured or anything, they're great! They didn't suffer injury, right? Oh, for fuck's sake, Kirill was sitting on the bench! About fucking time, Red Wings. I was worried that the fan base was about to publicly flog Yzerman outside Little Caesars Arena. That season's start was brutal, about as botched as their defensive logjam was. Yet in these dark times, all it takes is a spark to send Gru flying to the moon. Godspeed, Derek Lalonde. You were never good at this level. Todd McClellan may have a reputation for playoff choking, but his voice was what Detroit desperately needed to right the ship. Since his hire, the Red Wings have surged to heights not seen in almost a decade. True playoff contention. Larkin, Raymond, and Kane carrying the franchise as they had anticipated. Talbot and Lyon playing their hearts out in net. Legendary stuff indeed. Now will it continue is the question. Only one thing might stop them. That penalty kill. My dudes, get your shit together there. Title defenses are a daunting challenge for any team. The glories of the past are fresh in your mind, but you want more. The fear is the end. You don't want to be a one and done in that regard. Good news for Florida, they've passed the first part of the test. Everything has been going smoothly for them so far, leading the Atlantic with no real surprises on that end. The usual suspects are still doing the usual things. Paul Maurice has them dialed in. Goaltending could be a touch better, but there haven't been any glaring weaknesses on the roster that can score at will. Main objective for them is to stay healthy and bolster the depth at the deadline. I think they've earned the benefit of trust after winning a cup. Talk to you in April. The eternal dance with rebuilding and relevance is a story that Montreal has had to suffer through since their cup run. You can usually see how things are faring a few years into the deep clean. Over here, results have been mixed. The potential rise of a young core has been a good trend. Suzuki, Caulfield, Hudson, and maybe Slavkovsky are pieces you can build upon. Patrick Laine was white hot to start the season as well. But like Laine, that hope is mercurial. It's countered by miserable team defense and goaltending. Caden Primo's ability is washed away into the river. Jakub Dobeš is showing some promise on that end, but such hope there is few and far between. It's either underwhelming or injured like David Reinbacher. A team anchored down like the Gallagher and Anderson contracts. There was hope in the middle of January. This recent freefall has put it in the same hole they buried Primo. Back to the drawing board, Montreal. You've got some more shit to figure out. I think they may have finally figured it out. Tom Fitzgerald, your seat's starting to get cold. Congratulations on your offseason moves panning out so far. Look at their goaltending. No longer is it a complete mess. The save percentage is over .910 for both Markstrom and Allen. Glory hallelujah. Team defense is shored up significantly as well. Big physical presence is shoring up another once glaring weakness. And creating a problem with Simone Nemec griping about being entitled to an NHL job. Who gives a shit about him when they've given up the second least goals allowed per game? With their offense and power play not skipping a beat over this time frame, New Jersey will likely be returning to avenge last year's demons. Only two problems. Mikael Hischier's out week to week and Markstrom's gone long term. Mr. Allen, this is your greatest challenge as a goalie so far. Thriving here will go a long way towards you getting a tremendous bag from someone. Hockey purgatory is a miserable place. It's one where the past isn't comforting in current pain. The present is apathy. The future is bleak. A new arena simply leads to the same old shit. A team lacking elite talent and skill predictably features the worst special teams units in hockey. Both man advantage and man down. A malaise that affects the entire organization from top to bottom. The magic of those Eggman runs long gone, and the franchise merely rots in real time. I legitimately cringe to think how bad this team would be without Sorokin. As Patrick Waugh squirms in a corner, the entire team is pretty much dead on arrival. Most of their highlighted star power has followed suit. Lou, please, for the love of fucking God, wake up from your nap and do something! No, I didn't mean sign Tony D'Angelo! What the hell, man?! Pages turn with fury in this exciting season of All My Rangers. A campaign full of skids and surges unfolding in front of our very eyes. The likes of Jacob Trouba and Capo Caco scapegoated for team failure. Zibanejad and Kreider threatened with the horrors of a greater purge. Igor rewarded with an extension worthy of games. Despite the trials and tribulations of New York, the executives desire new blood to prevent a lost campaign. An old friend needs to be brought in for Sweeps Month. A firebrand that talent alone cannot comprehend. J.T. Miller. It would cost a bit more than Mika's anchor contract 1-for-1. Now the final stage has been set. The Rags have recovered from their December freefall, but many questions remain. Will they be able to reassert themselves as contenders? Is the fading core rejuvenated from Miller's arrival? Can Peter Laviolette survive the flames of fury? This saga of All My Rangers will be one for the ages. We guarantee it. Wait a second. Ottawa's good? I thought Toronto made that illegal after the Treaty of Ontario was signed. Turns out they finally got it together after their early season failure to launch. Perhaps it just needed a little more time. They're a team that won't blow your socks off, but considering how past years have gone, the Sens will take it. And it was pretty unexpected, too. Linus Ullmark's been pretty solid for them, until injury. You'd think all would be lost. You were wrong. Who the hell knew that the franchise savior would be Leevi Meriläinen? Dude put up numbers that rivaled the Hamburglar. And it finally elevates Ottawa goaltending into a potential strength. Quite the turnaround, isn't it? Turns out shedding a rotting executive branch has its benefits. As unprecedented as Adam Gaudette imitating last year's Michael Carcone. Word of advice. Don't say you're gonna play games in Quebec City and don't rest on your laurels. The rest of the Atlantic's hot on their tail. So much for last year's burst onto the scene. They did overachieve, but you'd think that the Flyers would maintain some form of composure as a result. That didn't happen. In the end, you get an underwhelming forward core and a franchise falling into the abyss of misery yet again. Losing streaks ahoy with Mount Tortorella's wrath unable to overturn it. Philly's problem's pretty straightforward. They have 3 goalies rotating for them on and off. None of them are able to consistently make a save. You think this organization misses yet or what? They merely pray that Matvei Mishkov doesn't suffer the same fate. He is an incredible talent, both on the ice and at making Torch submit to his will. Now the sell-off will begin. Farabee and Frost are already gone and more are on the way. Does anyone want Scott Laughton? And his contract? Please? People gave me shit for saying the Pen should have started rebuilding after their series loss to the Rangers. I'm not tooting my own horn, to be honest, I didn't think it would be this bad. With how god-awful their team defense and goaltending has been for the most part, it's no surprise that they're circling the drains. The old core's a shell of what it used to be. Some of it's injured to boot. Combine that with years of saying fuck them picks and you get the Penguins of today. They can't avoid the inevitable sell-off. Lars Eller and Marcus Pettersson are already gone. More might be on the way if they can find takers for some of those contracts. I hated that Ryan Graves deal from the beginning, but his first point didn't come this year until Game 40. Really? He should be thanking his lucky stars for Tristan Jarry. The dude is absolutely unplayable at this level right now. He's cooked, and now rides the Pittsburgh plunge into the Allegheny. Even as Nedeljkovic is a slight renaissance, perhaps FSG may finally get the message. It's time. It has long been so. Oh, Sid, you try to carry this team so much, yet it's to no avail. The desire to maintain a cup window is a daunting task indeed. Risky moves have to be made in order to keep momentum. Old faces will have to be shed, but it's for the best. It's no longer Stammer's team. It's Nikita Kucherov's. Him and that dynamic power play, the staples of the Lightning of today. A team that's never had any struggle scoring goals. Their high-end talent, some of the best in hockey. They added Jake Gensel to it. The Lightning are caught up in the gauntlet of a competitive Atlantic, but Tampa Bay needs to keep up with their in-state rival. They can't be one-upped at their own game, you know? The epitome of a streaky group. Multi-game win streaks countered by losing streaks of the same caliber. More is needed. It's the only way to survive April and beyond. The dire need is backup goalie at the deadline, though. Jonas Johansson ain't gonna cut it. Nowhere close. It doesn't matter that the Leafs are better in pretty much every way than them this season. The perpetual property of Boston shall remain so forevermore. At least until they can do something of note again. This is what we roughly expected of Toronto in terms of standings performance, but the methods are different. The Leafs embody the Craig Berube spirit. Full buy-in defensively. Cocoon the men in net. Every man plays with tenacity. It's done wonders for their team defense and goaltending. Now, can Anthony Stolarz and Joseph Woll keep up the ungodly pace they've been saving pucks? I honestly don't know. The main thing is that this is a different team. One that's honestly not as flashy or productive on the offensive end, but that's by design. They're just waiting for April at this point. Let's be real, though, the question's going to be this offseason with Tavares and Marner. John might come back on a pay cut, but Mitch hasn't exactly been one for loyalty deals. Break open the vaults. Somebody's going to pay up. Out of all the teams to massively break out of the Eastern Conference bubble, one that skyrocketed into the stratosphere, emerging as a potential contender. Washington? Turns out watching Ovi chase the record isn't the only reason to watch this team. Logan Thompson is more than a reason to do so as well, and he got handsomely extended for the job he's doing. Same might happen for Jacob Chikrin if the price is right. It's a team flush with incredible depth. Hell, even Pierre-Luc Dubois found new life in Spencer Carberry's system. Speed and tenacity, the cornerstones of the New Age Capitals. Are they overperforming? Probably, but Washington's still a legitimate threat for the Eastern Conference crown. See, it isn't just about Opie overtaking the Great One. There's a potential cup run in there as well. No, I'm not sitting here bitter as a Penguins fan, I swear to God.
Flying down the ice is Kempe. Kempe around Granlund to the net. Lankinen makes the save. Didn't know where the puck was, and it floated right through the blue paint. Back the other way comes Granlund. Nikola to the net. Shoots. Score! Mikael Granlund wins it for